All Progressive Congress (APC) has said there's no going back on the endorsement of Senator Ahmed Lawan and Femi Gbajabiamila as the next president of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Despite the ruling body's support for Lawan, Senator Aline Dume Bronu and Senator Danjuma Goje are said to be interested in contesting against him. Some lawmakers, including from the Southwest Legislature, have also declared interest in contesting against Femi Gbajabiamila. But the APC National Public Secretary, Larry Issa Onilu, in an interview, said the party was already looking beyond zoning and endorsement. The party spokesman expressed the confidence that despite being in talk with members of the People Democratic Party in the National Assembly, lawmakers elected on the platform of APC will not allow a repeat of what happened in 2015 when opposition party produced the Deputy Senate President.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday inaugurated the Northeast Development Commission (NEDC). The president, who performed the inauguration ceremony before the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, said that for a smooth takeoff of the commission, the sum of 10 billion naira takeoff grant to the commission has already been captured in the 2019 budget.
The establishment of the commission is in fulfillment of the pledge of this administration to the people of the Northeast geopolitical zone and part of the strategy for generating the socio-economic potentials of geopolitical zone after the devastation of Boko Haram insurgency. Excuse me. It is also an appreciation of massive electoral support received from the zone in 2015 and 2019 general elections. The Northeast Development Commission is established by the Northeast Development Commission (NEDC) Established Act 2017, which I asserted to on the 25th of October 2017. The Commission is charged with the responsibility of, among other things, receiving and managing funds allocated by the federal government of Nigeria and donors for the resettlement, rehabilitation, integration, and construction of roads, houses, and business premises of victims of insurgency, as well as taking the menace of poverty, illiteracy, ecological problems, and other related environmental and developmental challenges in the northeastern states. In demonstration of the commitment of government to your takeoff, a provision of 10 billion naira has been made in the 2019 budget, and I expect you to judiciously apply the resources.
While charging the board members to live up to expectation as the process that led to their appointment was carefully carried out, the president said they must overcome every form of sentiment in the discharge of their duties.
You shall, as a matter of urgency, conduct comprehensive survey of all states in the zone to determine the reconstruction and rehabilitation needs of all the socio-economic sectors of the zone and develop an intervention master plan based on outcome of your assessments. Develop policies and implementation guidelines for immediate intervention in the development of the zone.
President Muhammadu Buhari had in January sent names of nominees to the Senate for confirmation, which they eventually obliged to last month. The board members include Major General Paul Tafa, retired, as chairman, Mohammed Akali as the managing director and chief executive officer of the commission, and 9 other members of the board of the commission. drawn from all the geopolitical zones in the country. The Senate in October 2016 passed the bill for the establishment of the insurgency-ravaged northeast region of Nigeria. From Abuja, I am Festus Ejirogen Efifen for Ben Television.
The Senate has called on the federal government to deploy more coaches to Abuja-Kaduna rail line to accommodate the increasing numbers of passengers. The upper chamber on Wednesday also noted that the rail station have become overcrowded due to criminal activities along the Abuja-Kaduna Express Road. The resolution followed debate on the motion sponsored by the Senator Ali Ndume, who noted that the surge in the patronage of the rail services may have been attributed to the safety.
The Senate notes with concern the undue pressure on existing facilities at the Abuja-Kaduna railway line, notes that most passengers en route Abuja-Kaduna have to turn to the railway as a safer means of transportation. Aware that the surge in the patronage of rail services may have been attributed to its safety, comfort, convenience, and perhaps affordability, which have drawn many commuters following the high risk on Abuja-Kaduna Expressway that is threatened by kidnappers, armed robbers, and other kinds of criminals. Worried that Nigerians willing to use these services are now meant to queue for hours before boarding due to increase in demand. Resolves to urge the federal government or the Nigerian Railway Corporation to deploy more coaches to Abuja-Kaduna rail line to ameliorate the plight of the passengers.
Contributing to the motion, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Land Transport, Benga Ashafa, explained that the only 12 out of the 64 coaches paid for by the federal government will arrive in Nigeria in July.
Our main problem is funding. If we are able to fund, we'll be able to have enough locomotives and coaches. Now, the immediate intervention that the minister has put in place is to look at Warri Itakwe, which does not command too much of patronage, and bring about 2 or 3 coaches, add to that of Kaduna, Abuja. About reducing the fare, for now, I would say what we should be concerned about is getting more coaches coming in and ensuring that the construction of Lagos-Kano is fast-tracked by giving them enough funds. Luckily, the National Assembly has played its own part in this. We will still be paying more if they come in to ask for more money, but there has never been any request made by the executive concerning rail that we have not been able to meet up to. So as far as that is concerned, I think we are good. We are expecting additional 12 coaches, passenger coaches, to arrive in the next 8 weeks. I can't promise you anything less than that, but in the next 8 weeks, additional 12 coaches will arrive, and that will ameliorate the problems of Lagos, Kaduna. But in the meantime, I think we have to make do with intervention coming from Itakwe. That is only 2 coaches coming in to carry passengers.
Other lawmakers who lend their voices to the motion call for fare reduction to make it affordable to the general public.
National Universities Commission has approved the establishment of additional 3 more universities in Imo State to address the challenges of admission in the country. The universities include University of Science and Technology, Isiako, University of Creative Technology, Umuna, and University of Medical Sciences, Oboko. The approval is coming barely 3 weeks after the approval of the takeoff of University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, Omagwo, in the same state. Speaking at the event in Abuja, the Executive Secretary of NUC, Professor Rashid Abubakar, said the institution have met all requirements necessary for their recognition. He noted that the Commission would work out new curriculum for the new universities, as most programs the institution will run are innovative and would require massive contribution of the Commission.
No university recognized can start any programs until the NUC is satisfied that the facilities are there for the takeoff of those programs you listed. And from what I have seen, there is a lot of creativity in many of these, in the courses. Many of the courses listed do not exist in current Nigerian university curriculum, which means we will have to quickly work jointly. The NUC, the Imo State government, and these universities will have to work to develop the curriculum very quickly within the next few weeks for the universities to be allowed to commence this work. But for us in the Commission, we welcome innovation, we welcome creativity, and we believe this is the only way of moving this country forward.
On his part, the governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, said the universities were established through the instrumentality of the State House of Assembly, adding that the main aim of putting in place the new institution was to bring development to rural areas and increase access to university education.
The aim of this is to bring development to the rural areas, especially the manpower development. You agree with me, Your Excellency, Executive Secretary, that our nation, especially my state, is in dire need of more tertiary institutions, given the fact that we have remained #1 for the past 7 years in the number of children seeking for university admission. Our number is still growing in a geometrical progression. And take, for instance, last year alone, we had over 100-something thousand jambis, while the whole country were looking for 67,000. So this has called for concern that Imo State is in their need of this tertiary institution. But above that is that we have also looked at universities that can be beneficiary to our people, our children, and the nation at large.
In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports.
Nigerian senators held closed section with the acting Inspector General Police Abubakar Damu to find ways of ending the increasing spread of insecurity in Nigeria. President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, who disclosed the outcome of the session, which lasted for over 2 hours, assured that the parliament will assist the police in every way in order to address the rampant cases of kidnapping, banditry, and killings in the country. He added that one of the agreements reached include ensuring kidnapping along Abuja-Kaduna Expressway is tackled.
Briefed by the Acting Inspector General of Police on armed banditry, kidnappings, robberies, terrorist activities, and other security challenges in the country. The Nigerian police efforts ameliorating the situation are the challenges. However, I hope to address the menace. The Senate is ready at any time to give assistance to provide adequate funding that is required in order to make the police be able to combat the necessary threats to our security. Distinguished colleagues, is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole?
Outside the closed-door section with senators, the acting Inspector General Police briefed journalists on the strategy being put in place to address the general level of insecurity across the country.
The strategies we put in place to deal with insecurity within the country, and have expanded a lot of strategies that we put in place that is working, and then we have reviewed the strategy and what we have put in again in order to mitigate some of the challenges that emerged again. And they have appreciated what we've presented, and also they gave suggestions as to how to enhance the strategy that we said we are deploying. They have agreed to support us in every aspect, in every area that we need in order to do our job to make the country secured. No, there is no any ultimatum. Policing is dynamic, and you cannot give ultimatum as to deal with a crime.
He also revealed that the committee have been set up to investigate allegations of rape, molestation leveled against some police officers in the raid of some nightclub in FCT.
The raiding of the women, it was a task force from FCT that came out to do their job, and they requested police to support them, which the police did, and the women were arrested and then charged, and they were convicted, which means they committed offense within the FCT territory. But the actions of the police officer that they were alleged to have raped and molested the women, that we've set up a panel to investigate, and anybody caught and proven to have done that will face the law.
Recall that the issue of armed banditry, incessant kidnapping, killing, and several other crimes recurrently rocking various parts of the country have been at the forefront of the deliberation at the National Assembly in recent times.
In its quest to making brand new cars affordable to Nigerians, the National Automotive Design and Development Council says it is partnering with 3 commercial banks in the country through a vehicle financing scheme. Jelani Aliyu, the Director General of the Council, said this in Abuja during an interview shortly after auto inspection, which was newly introduced into the Nigerian market. Jelani said the initiative will aid the easier purchase of vehicles by Nigerians, while also enabling growth of the country's auto industry. Jelani said the council had reached an understanding with the banks to give loans to eligible Nigerians after they must have provided 10% of the cost of vehicle.
This is a vehicle, as I have seen and noticed, and have been shown, a vehicle that is perfect for this environment, higher ground clearance, a vehicle with very good features, and this is the type of vehicle we have been advocating in terms of producing the right types of vehicle for our harsh environments, but not just a vehicle that suits those environments, but one that is affordable. And so that is the second also a good reason, a vehicle that is right for Nigeria at an affordable price, because that is the objective, to provide vehicles that the common Nigerian can afford. And then the third reason is this plays right into our vehicle finance scheme that we will soon be rolling out. As has been mentioned in a lot of other markets, you would have to put down you put down 10% or less and you drive off with a new car. In Nigeria, most of the times you have to put down 100% before you can drive off with a new car. So we are working with primarily 3 banks to offer vehicle financing. And that is why we're happy. This is the type of vehicle that we hope would be part of that scheme, a vehicle that is affordable, made in the country, that people can buy through the vehicle financing scheme that we're about to roll out with a single-digit financing.
It's difficult to see an individual bring 100% cash and pay for a car. And that's what's happening in Nigeria. You have to get 100% cash to get a vehicle. And if government can actually turn that around, bring in a very good hire purchase scheme, which the DG is already talking about, I think that will drastically change the economy. People will not be interested in driving used vehicles. Used vehicles, we keep saying they are not safe. They are used by a human being like you. Why can't you use a new vehicle produced in Nigeria? But that can only happen once the capacity to be able to purchase is there. And it's only hire purchase scheme that can actually solve that.
The NADDC boss therefore called on the federal government to ensure legislation that will become a law. Also speaking, Remy Adams, the lead sale and marketing, said the auto manufacturer will continue to support the auto policy to ensure local production.
We need to have the auto policy become law. As you're aware, the auto policy is a set of fiscal incentives designed and developed to support local production. Because the big question in Nigeria is always, what are we really after? Is it short-term benefits, or are we out really to create a fantastic, ubiquitously successful future for everybody? The only way we can ensure that this country continues as a successful nation is if we provide industrialization and provide jobs. The only way we can provide jobs is by boosting industry and supporting those local and international investors in coming into Nigeria and producing. That is why the automotive policy is so important, as it supports local production. And I think we are making progress, because this shows that there are investors from around the world, especially here from Japan, which we know is a hotbed for automobile production. They're here, and this is Honda itself in Nigeria, producing for Nigeria. So we're working very closely with the National Assembly to see that that bill becomes, that law, that automotive policy becomes law, so that there's no policy somersault.
To a large extent, in the 80s, maybe it was okay. In the 90s, in 2000, it was not bad. 2007, precisely before the Lehman shock, things have been down. But since the auto policy started 2014, simultaneously, it was the same time we had some economic downturn, which affected all the market. Now it is improving, but we want it to improve more. And if such improvement keep occurring, of course, production increases. And the more we have units in operations, the better the price eventually. The price start coming down.
All right, what are some of those? Jelani Aliyu disclosed that the construction of 7 automotive training centers across the 6 geopolitical zones, including the Federal Capital Territory, will soon commence. Awesome Raffle, Ben Television.